Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be reviewing the S.H.MonsterArts Godzilla x Kong The New Empire Skar King. Now, in my last S.H.MonsterArts video, I think it was Godzilla Evolved, I said I wouldn't be picking up Skar King. However, recently I had a trip to Melbourne, Australia, and I went to Pop Culture and I saw this there. And even though it was quite expensive, around $220, I kind of said fuck it and just decided to buy it. So yeah, that's why I have this figure. And I don't know if it was a good decision or not, but let's see if it is. But first of all, here's the box with, I don't know what is this color scheme for the box, but purple and red. At the side, Monsterverse, Skar King from Godzilla x Kong. Back here, some of the features and accessories it comes with. And then the other side, profile, 3D render of the figure also. Another 3D render, and yep, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get into the figure. Okay, so here we have the figure out of its box. And for 220 Australian dollars, I think it comes with a decent amount of accessories. However, it could use some more accessories. So it's in between that good enough amount of accessories and not enough accessories. So yeah. So let's go through the accessories before the actual figure. The first accessory he comes with is this nice whiplash that he used throughout the film. And there's the crystal he used to command Shimo. And I have to say, this is quite nicely done. However, I'll get into an issue I have about this whiplash in a second. And then over here, we have, at least including the ones that I've already installed onto Skar King, Skar King comes with about 4 pairs of different fists. First, you got closed fist. Oh, shoot. Open palm fist. More of like crawling wrists. And then if you can see, the ones he comes installed with, he's holding hands where he can hold the whiplash. Then also we got a roaring face, which I'll get into why I have an issue with this in a minute. And then strangely enough, this figure comes with like an accessory, however, for a different character. And that character is for Kong. He comes with the Beast Glove for Kong. And I think this is nicely sculpted. I don't think it's excellent. However, I think it's decent. And yeah, you got... he also comes with a couple pair of fists for the Beast Glove. The first one being a closed fist. A weapon holding fist, mainly to hold the... I think the axe he comes with. And an open palm fist. So yeah. And of course, you get Skar King himself. So yeah. So overall, I think the amount of accessories are good. However, I'll get into why some of the accessories doesn't work. First, let's go through Skar King himself, and then I'll go through why the accessories doesn't work for me. Okay, so here is Skar King, the main villain of Godzilla x Kong The New Empire. And I've gotta say, yeah, he does look like Skar King from the film. However, some minor nitpicks about the details on this figure. First thing I realized is it's too tall. In the film, I think he was way shorter than Kong. No, slightly taller than Kong, but shorter than Godzilla Evolved. And later I'll get into height comparisons and you can see it's kind of off-putting there. But another issue I've realized with my copy of the figure, I think this is more of a QC issue, as you can see here on the arms, there's like a gray stripe that starts from the shoulder over here, goes to the arm, the elbow, all the way down to the hand. However, on the other side, you can see the gray starts here, goes here. However, for the elbow section, it's kind of faded and you can't really see it. Like, let's see if the camera can focus. Like, it's kind of misprinted a bit, where the stripe is supposed to connect from this one down to the arm. However, it's more placed to the right side of the elbow. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, that's more of a minor nitpick also. So yeah, overall the details on this figure, it's very good. But what do I overall think about this figure? I think it's a good detailed figure, however, a horribly done articulated figure. Now, for S.H.MonsterArts and Higher Toys is always known for making the more detailed figures, while S.H.MonsterArts is known to make more articulated figures than Higher Toys. However, in this scenario, I think Higher Toys, if they are ever gonna make a Skar King, I think they can actually beat S.H.MonsterArts Skar King. Mainly because the articulation on this figure is quite bad. Where first you get the basic articulation, like shoulder up, legs up, legs back. You get also knee joints like this. However, you can't make it kick its own ass, and that's a bit worrying, where for a very lanky gorilla you would think he'd be able to kick his own ass. However, he can't. And then for the arm, this is my main issue with the figure, mainly the arm. The arm, even though it's so long, you can't, that's as far as you can go with the arms. That's not that great. I've seen way better articulation. Just for comparisons, this is the Kong figure, and the Kong figure seems like it has a better articulation than Skar King, which is weird because Kong has a way big arm, while Skar King has a way lanky arm. So you'd think they'd be able to incorporate an articulation system so that he can touch his own shoulder, but no. If you try to do that, it breaks off. Thankfully, you can put it back. So yeah, the arm is, I think, badly done. The legs, I think you should be able to kick back more. So yeah, the arms and legs definitely could be improved upon. So yeah, however, the articulation I do like. It does have a decent ab crunch. Like so, hold on, has a decent ab crunch, and it can. However, you can't go back that much, which is a shame, but it is what it is. And it also has a ball joint on the feet, which I do like. So yeah. Another piece of articulation I like is the head, where the head, you can make him look down a lot, and you can make him look up quite a bit. So yeah, I like the fact that on the head, it has this system where it's not like the Kong figure where it's just one solid sculpt. However, on here, you have 3 different pieces, 2 pieces for the back of the head, so that you can make him have more range for the articulation, and I do like that. So yeah, however, I think articulation on this, where we've seen S.H.MonsterArts already do a decent articulation monkey being Kong. And then there's another monkey which is more lankier than Kong. However, they're not really using the fact that it's lankier to give it more articulation. It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad. So yeah, another issue I have with this figure, my main issue, is its joint tolerance, especially on the hand. Let me show you. Yep, that's all it takes to get rid of the hand. One flick. So yeah, I'm not gonna get back that hand for now, but yeah, you can easily get rid of the hand that easily, and it is a pain in the ass to pose this figure with the hands, with the whiplash, him holding the whiplash in a pose is a pain in the ass, because this whiplash makes it hard for this hand to actually stay still, and most of the time when I'm playing around with the posing, the hand drops off with the whiplash in its hands, and I don't like that at all. So yeah, so overall the figure, not horrible articulation, but it's not S.H.MonsterArts standard for articulation. So yeah, and the details on this figure are okay. However, a couple of QC errors on mine and there, but yeah, overall this figure could have been done better, and I hope Higher Toys do make a better version of this. So yeah, anyways, let's get into some of the accessories. So first of all, I already said this is the whiplash he has in the film. One thing that this is kind of new for me, I didn't know S.H.MonsterArts done this before, but apparently they did. But this is my first time being introduced to the bendy wire for S.H.MonsterArts. And what do I think of it? I think it's shit. To be honest. The material they've chosen for the whiplash makes it so that over time, this whiplash will definitely not hold together and will definitely be breaking over time, because out of box already, I don't know if you can see that, but just a simple bend here, there's a tear there. And there's a couple of tears throughout this thing. I don't know if it's that thing like all bendy wires have, where there's that hole usually. If it is, that doesn't look like it's going to be okay. It looks like it's gonna tear through time after me doing this. And you need, if you want to do that thing where Skar King has his whip wrapped around his body, you're going to need to bend this part down. So yeah, that is nerve-wracking for me. So I'm definitely not gonna pose him with this wrapped around his body on display. So yeah, and I think the overall range of the bendy wire isn't the best, where it with the Hammond another toy line that does bendy wires a lot is the Hammond Collection Jurassic Park series that I collect. And with those, they kind of bounce up a bit after a certain point. And that's kind of the same with this one, where it kind of bends up and it's quite hard to get it into the actual pose you want the whiplash to get into. So I am not a big fan of this whiplash. However, if Higher Toys does make a Skar King, we definitely know that they're gonna do a better bendable wire whiplash, as they have done amazing with the bendy wires, such as figures like Rodan, where the bendy wires on the wings are incredible. So I hope Higher Toys does improve. But yeah, I don't like this whiplash a lot. I mean, nice crystal. You can get it into some decent poses, this whiplash, but yeah. And also, not to mention, these are all sharp, by the way, so, yep, very painful. So yeah. Alright, the next accessory we're gonna go into and my issues with it is the roaring face, where a lot of people hate this face, and I'm kind of on the fence. I'm more in between, where I'm okay with this head sculpt. I don't think I think this is definitely based off of concept art, but my main issue with the face is I have a QC error on mine. You definitely can't see it there, but the eyelids on both sides aren't in the same spot. So I have a crooked eye Skar King, so that's funny. So yeah, I don't really like that. However, it's not that noticeable. However, for the price you're paying for this, 220, you expect better quality from these figures now, do you? However, you're not gonna get that quality, as this is S.H.MonsterArts, where they don't really give a shit about you, as their main customer buyer base is in Japan, where unfortunately Higher Toys isn't available there. So yeah, this head sculpt is meh for me. However, one thing that I don't really like is the Beast Glove. First of all, the Beast Glove, quite nice, the details they put on it. However, they didn't put any dry brushing on this, and the Higher Toys one has a lot of dry brushing on this. And if I'm not wrong, there were promo images, 3D renders online showing like silver dry brushing on this. But yeah, I don't have that on mine at all. Let me just double check. Okay, it doesn't show on the 3D render here, so I could be high. But yeah, there's no dry brushing. It's just a thick color. One color, that's it. And yeah, that's not great. And then second of all, the articulation on the arm, not that great either. I think this is the max you can bend it. So this is as far back, and this is the max you can bend it. And then, oh, okay, this piece popped off. Oh, okay, there we go. But yeah, the articulation on this arm, quite bad, as this piece will pop off after a while. So yeah, the articulation on this figure, not so great. I'm not on the figure, the arm, sorry. So yeah, not so great. Okay, so here I have the arm installed, and yeah, it looks pretty good on. However, if you're mainly buying Skar King for this arm, I don't think it's worth it really. So yeah. However, if you're placing this on the old Godzilla vs. Kong copy, I think it fits in pretty well, where the color, you can definitely tell there's a bit of a color difference. Over here brown, there black, but I think it's overall quite nice. So yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna do height comparisons now. Okay, so here he is right next to Godzilla Evolved, and as you can see, they're almost at the same height, which is not film accurate, as Skar King would be way shorter. Not way shorter, but shorter than Godzilla Evolved. And then here we have him next to Kong, which I don't know if that's accurate, where Skar King is way taller than Kong, but yeah, I just feel like this is mainly based off of concept art, which is what S.H.MonsterArts is known to do, where they base their figures off the concept art and not the final figure, the final character. So yeah, so what do I think of this figure overall? I think there's definitely some room for improvement. The accessories, while nice, they can be improved upon, and I think the articulation definitely needs to be stepped up if they are ever going to re-release this figure, which we know they are, as Mechagodzilla got re-released, so we know that this figure is most likely gonna be re-released in whatever shitty skin tone or shitty color scheme they're gonna put him in. So yeah, overall this figure is a meh to buy. I don't think this is worth 220 Australian dollars, and I don't think that this is a great figure. However, I think this is more on the lines of a decent figure, which you don't really want to be saying when you just spent $220 like I did. So, save yourself the pain. Wait until this figure is like on clearance, or just wait for the higher toys one. So, yeah. Alright, with saying that, thank you for watching my video. If you like this review, please subscribe or like this video. And if you didn't like this video, please tell me in the comment section down below how I can improve upon these reviews. So yeah, so until next time, have a nice day and bye bye for now. Bye bye.